I'm Lila Cockrell, and I'm so happy to be here to talk about the World Affairs Council of San Antonio. Now, as background, my husband Sid and I moved here in 1956 in January, and I loved coming to San Antonio, but I was so sorry to miss two organizations that I had left behind, and one of them was the Dallas World Affairs Council. And it was a recently organized council in Dallas, headed by Neil Mallon, who was the head of Dresser Industries. And I just was so appreciative of it being founded, and they brought in wonderful lecturers, and it was just a marvelous organization. And another one was the Council for Support of the United Nations. And that was one that was headed by Judge Sarah T. Hughes. And she asked if I would be her vice chairman for that organization. And of course, later, she was the presiding judge who administered the oath of office to Lyndon Johnson after the sad and tragic assassination of President Kennedy. But at any rate, when we moved to San Antonio in 1956, with my husband accepting a position here, I looked around and there was no World Affairs Council here. But I soon busied myself as a mother in PTA and League of Women Voters and my church and other activities. And I was just delighted when Nelson Wolff and Doug Harlan were the ones who organized the World Affairs Council of San Antonio. Now, it fills a great need. I had looked around when I first came to San Antonio for some kind of an international organization, and I found one, and I found Mamie Dial, who was just a very special lady in San Antonio, and she had an international council of world affairs, and that international council was not one that just focused on issues as our present World Affairs Council does, and with lecturers. It was just sort of an international friendship group. And I can remember Miss Mamie extending friendship to the young officers who were here from many countries around the world, who had their young officers come for officers training at Lackland Air Force Base and learning the English language. And Miss Mamie would have branding ceremonies in her front yard and name them honorary Texans with a fake branding iron. And all of these young officers would go home with their certificates of being honorary Texans. But nevertheless, that was not filling the need. The need was to have an organization that was truly a World Affairs Council, issue-oriented, that would be the opportunity for San Antonians to expand their understanding and knowledge of international affairs by bringing in top speakers, persons who are in service in the diplomatic service, and bringing that to San Antonio, not only to an adult office, a group of adults, but also expanding to youth and to young people's activities, opportunities for young people to compete in their knowledge of international affairs. It has been an absolutely wonderful contribution to San Antonio and, in fact, the world, because it has increased our knowledge, our interface with the international scene. And I think bringing us attention to our young people who compete at the international level or the national level. And it just is a great asset to San Antonio. So if you are thinking about whether you should belong to San Antonio World Affairs Council, please do it. It's important. We would welcome you to our membership. It is an open membership. You don't have to have someone extend a personal invitation. You can pick up your phone. You can phone the office of the World Affairs Council of San Antonio, and we would welcome you to join us as a new member.